Hi, this is Remembering the Past, the show where we talk about people who've died recently who've had a profound effect on our history, our society, or our culture. By way of introduction of our only subject tonight, there's this.
Hey, Bert, you know what today is? You know what time it is? And then you know what we gotta do. We gotta get our swine flu shots. We gotta show those two killers this town ain't big enough for the four of us. Is that right, Bert?
Well, that was the great impressionist Frank Gorshin doing one of his best impressions, that of Issur Danielovitch Dembski, he of the dimpled chin, aka the Ragman's son, aka Kirk Douglas, who died recently at the age of 103. He was one of Hollywood's greatest stars, one of its greatest personalities, and one of the last of the old Hollywood crew. He had so many good roles and so many good movies, it's hard to pick them out. He worked with some of Hollywood's greatest directors, Milestone in his first movie, The Strange Love of Martha Ivers. In 1946, he was recommended for that role by his friend Lauren Bacall, whose podcast we've done. Michael Curtiz with Young Man with a Horn in 1950. Vincent Minnelli with The Bad and the Beautiful and Lana Turner in 1955. Gunfight at OK Corral, which may be the one that Frank Gorshin was satirizing, with John Sturges and Burt Lancaster. He did 7 films with Burt Lancaster, that one in 1957. And his greatest movies, Ace in the Hole with Billy Wilder in 1951, and 2 with Stanley Kubrick, Paths of Glory, one of the greatest movies ever made in 1957, and Spartacus in 1960. He was a nice Jewish boy from Amsterdam, New York. His parents were from Belarus. His father was a ragman. That was also the title of his autobiography, The Ragman's Son. He was also the father of Michael Douglas, and here is Michael Douglas doing a TCM tribute to his father.
I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus!
That's my father, Kirk Douglas. Watching him is a powerful experience. Imagine how overwhelming it was for me growing up seeing him on screen. Kirk Douglas came from an era where there was hardly any television around, so acting then, film acting, was grand and theatrical. He had to be larger than life. The gritting teeth, that raw energy. And because of his presence, you tend to overlook his skill.
Not a bull, General. I don't need a flag waving in front of me to get me to charge.
Passion and energy are his signature, so in my early years as an actor, I purposely played sensitive roles, avoiding the parts where any rage or physicality would make me too much like him. There's no one like Kirk Douglas. You take a movie like The Bad and the Beautiful, what really makes his actions hit their mark is the way he counters this physicality with sensitivity.
Sit down. Can you sit down?
No.
That's perfect. All right, now everybody out now, please. I want to talk to my star.
It was on the set of that film that I got to see my father at work. He was shooting a love scene.
Those my lucky.
I must say he's very good at those. Dad was looking over Lana Turner's shoulder, and I was standing there looking at him.
Color.
Dad had to say to me, "Michael, could you please move and go somewhere else? You're making me uncomfortable." And that was the first time I learned about how an actor works while surrounded by distractions.
That's star quality.
You watch him as Vincent Van Gogh in Lust for Life. I first saw the movie as a kid with my younger brother Joel. Dad looked so much like Van Gogh that we nearly forgot he was our father. But Dad wasn't satisfied with looking the part. He has an emotional understanding with the character. Dad was feeling what Van Gogh might have felt at any given moment. Despair, humiliation, madness. And the illusion was complete. My brother and I, we ran out of the theater hysterical, thinking that Dad had actually cut off his ear. And I don't think we were the only ones jolted by his performance. I've always thought my father was comfortable with his emotions. The side he shows in the movie Lonely Are the Brave. It's not a well-known picture, but it tells so much about my dad. It's his favorite film. Mine, too.
You sure you got the right phone? We haven't even been introduced.
The character, like Dad, is independent, a bit of a renegade. He has a sense of justice, a sense of humor.
You ever notice how many fences are getting to be? The signs they got on them. No hunting, no hiking, no admission, no trespass. Private property, closed area. Start moving, go away, get lost, drop dead. Know what I mean?
I don't even want to know.
Dad is not afraid to be disliked in terms of standing up for what he believes. We see it in Paths of Glory, a film that's clearly anti-war and confronts injustices. We see it in Spartacus, an epic movie that has you cheering for the underdog. Dad isn't afraid to do what is best for a picture, like hiring blacklisted screenwriter Dalton Trumbo. Granted, plenty of movies were written by Trumbo during the 50s, but he never got the credit for his work. Dad changed all that. There's no alias for the credits for Spartacus. That's Dalton Trumbo's name, and Dad put it there. My father has made some important films during his career. He has a deep sense of purpose.
What would your advice be? Well, sir, we're a nation of laws, of rules. We're military men, so we've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution.
The democratic way.
Yes, sir, the democratic way. Do your duty and, as you put it, ask for divine guidance.
There's no escaping the physical resemblances between us, or the intensity that runs in our family. And to me, that's not a bad thing. It was long overdue, but I finally worked with him in a movie. Dad and I could never decide on the right project before, but I realized the importance of doing a picture with him. He's not just my dad, but an icon of American cinema and a fine actor. He challenges you. He may not always make you want to lean in and hug him, but take a closer look. I think you'll like what you see.
Well, I got to give you a little bit on what I think is Kirk Douglas's greatest movie. His son mentioned Spartacus, and we talked about the Dalton Trumbo affair in Spartacus when we did the Edward Lewis podcast a couple of months back. I refer you to it. And Ace in the Hole is a very good movie, the Billy Wilder movie. But his best, in my opinion, is one of the great movies ever made. It's Stanley Kubrick's 1957 epic Paths of Glory. Kirk Douglas plays Colonel Dax, a World War I French officer who tries to save 3 of his men from unjustly being court-martialed. He's unsuccessful. And here he is with Adolphe Menjou, who's very good in this role. And Kirk Douglas winds up being sent back to the front to certain death. This is one of the great scenes in any movie.
Sir, would you like me to suggest what you can do with that promotion?
Colonel Dax! You will apologize at once or I shall be placed under arrest.
I apologize for not being entirely honest with you. I apologize for not revealing my true feelings. I apologize, sir, for not telling you sooner that you're a degenerate, sadistic old man. And you can go to hell before I apologize to you now or ever again.
Colonel Dax, you're a disappointment to me. You have spoiled the keenness of your mind by wallowing in sentimentality. You really did want to save those men. And you were not angling for Muro's command. You're an idealist. And I pity you, as I would the village idiot. We're fighting a war, Dax, a war that we've got to win. Those men didn't fight, so they were shot. You bring charges against General Miro, so I insist that he answer them. Wherein have I done wrong?
Because you don't know the answer to that question. I pity you.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
I want us to move back to the front immediately.
Well, give the men a few minutes more, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
Definitely check that out the next time you get a chance. Here's the producer-director Brett Ratner with another TCM tribute to Kirk Douglas.
Kirk Douglas is regarded as one of the greatest American film legends of all time. For over 6 decades, this Hollywood giant has lit up movie screens with a driving talent and emotional intensity like no other star before or since. He is an actor with a high level of great intelligence. Kirk's tough persona is legendary. In his autobiography, he said he always played real sons of bitches. Yet he also possesses a vulnerability that makes him appealing to all audiences. It's this vulnerability that makes his characters, no matter how tough or ruthless they may appear on the surface, seem real and genuine, not one-dimensional. It takes a brave actor to show the humanity underneath, and I've always found Kirk Douglas to be an actor of immense bravery. Watching his films, it made me fall in love with those tough yet vulnerable characters that he's portrayed. A prime example of this is Douglas's portrayal of a cynical newspaperman in Billy Wilder's Ace in the Hole, made in 1951. Here he plays an ambitious reporter who deliberately delays the rescue of a man trapped in a mine cave-in. He does this so he can milk the story for headlines, only to find himself sickened by his own corrupt ambition.
Sure. Everybody else got the story, only it's the wrong story. Shut up, I said! Leo Mendoza didn't die. He was murdered.
Then there's my all-time favorite, Kirk's mesmerizing performance as tortured painter Vincent van Gogh in Lust for Life, one of his 3 Oscar-nominated performances. Here, Douglas fully captures the artist's inner torment with an intensity matched by no other actor. At the beginning of his film career, Kirk usually played characters who were soft or morally corrupt, such as his role as Barbara Stanwyck's weak husband in The Strange Love of Martha Ivers, which was directed by Milestone.
I'll ring for some coffee for you.
No, thank you. I'll have another drink.
Walter.
If there's to be a discussion, I'll need another drink. Otherwise, I shall neither hear nor be coherent when and if I reply to whatever it is you're about to say.
But not one to be typecast, Douglas soon broke free of these mild-mannered roles and quickly established himself as an actor of fierce intensity and one of the toughest stars in the business. When he enters the screen, we're waiting for him to explode. Kirk Douglas could also be tough off-screen. He was one of the first stars to break free of the studio contract system, forming his own production company, Brenna Productions, named after his mother. I was amazed when he told me he once had Stanley Kubrick under personal contract. 2 of Douglas's best films as both actor and producer were directed by Kubrick. Paths of Glory, definitely one of the most powerful anti-war films ever made, and the epic Spartacus. In fact, Kubrick agreed to direct Spartacus in order to get out of his 6-picture deal with Douglas's production company. Spartacus is an amazing achievement for this prolific actor and producer. He accomplished what few actor-producers have, maintaining a perfect balance of story and spectacle. In Spartacus, the spectacle never interferes with or overshadows the human drama. Douglas is one of those rare actors who totally seems at home in whichever era his character comes from. He's definitely one of the most convincing cowboys in cinema history. One of Douglas's personal favorites is Lonely or the Brave, directed by David Miller. Here, Kirk plays a rebellious cowboy who can't come to grips with changing times, struggling to hang on to a way of life sadly slipping away from him, and determined to live by his own personal code. During his long career, Kirk teamed up with actor Burt Lancaster in 7 films, beginning with I Walk Alone, directed by Byron Haskin. Their ability to play off each other in equal balance is a testament to both their talents and their star power.
You come in the club now, Frankie, and see activity, people. But when I first opened, Frankie, there were nights when I didn't have 5 people in the club and 4 of them on the cuff.
Too bad.
Look, Frankie, building the club's been long and hard. If I'd come up to see you, some shutter-happy photographer would have taken the picture.
Took a picture of me, front-facing profile.
All it would take would be one picture. Now Turner, the famous Region Club, visits murderer friend. The next night, we'd be back to 5 people in the club.
And 4 of them on the cuff.
Kirk Douglas is an actor with a high regard for his profession and appreciation of its cultural value. He considers filmmaking a true art form and has always approached his roles with that philosophy, which is why his work has truly stood the test of time.
A couple of interesting trivia bits about Kirk Douglas. He was bar mitzvahed twice, when he was 13 and when he was 83. He received the Presidential Medal of Honor and also the French Chevalier Legion of Honor for his humanitarian efforts. He survived a helicopter crash when he was older, but he was supposed to be on the plane with Michael Todd that crashed, but his wife warned him off of it. And he wrote his autobiography without any ghostwriter, something you don't see too much in Hollywood. Well, I'm going to close on that note. I want to thank my producer and IT genius, Sid Tepps. Kirk Douglas starred in the 1950 movie Young Man with a Horn, where he played a big Spiderbeck-type character, and his horn playing was dubbed in by Harry James. So as a final tribute to Kirk Douglas, we're going to play a song from that movie that Harry James dubbed in for Kirk Douglas, and it goes well with our theme tonight. It's the George Gershwin tune, The Man I Love.